Hi classmates, as I was reading this week, I had not yet looked at the discussion post, so it was interesting to find that once I had finished, I was going to be relating MOOCs to my area. And of course, as I'm reading, that's what I'm already thinking about. So as I started my reading ethically, I had some concerns from both parent and educator viewpoint. In the vast openness where others contribute and share, I believe that students would be exposed to other people more freely, which is awesome in some sense, but also preventing people with malintent wanting access to children could become challenging. Also, being disruptive and controversial in nature, while it could help to see other viewpoints, it could lead to confusion and frustration for the younger population who's just not at the maturity level to be able to say, okay, I can politely disagree, or other people can express their viewpoints while I can still have my own. So I think, maybe just not yet appropriate there. Some of the features of the MOOCs, or the different MOOCs in general, that I wanted to touch on in relation to K through 12 education. In MOOCs, video segments in module style. So at first they were 50 minutes, and now as they've evolved, they've kind of shortened even down to 15 minutes in module style. And I feel like that's very doable, especially for upper elementary, middle, and high school. They also provide computer marking assessments, which is something students, even at first grade and kindergarten, are already participating in, and so I feel like that's very doable. Peer assessment is actually very beneficial for all students and doable as well. Supporting supplementary materials is also something that of course all students are going to benefit from, so that's a great feature. The shared comment and discussion is super exciting, because I feel like in teaching first grade, there have been countless times when I'm like, oh goodness, I just wish my first grade students could collaborate with diverse students from all over, and I feel like this provides that opportunity for them. However, there is no discussion moderation, and that's where I feel like a lot of the problems are going to arise. Already, up through fifth grade students, we're learning that those students just have to have some type of moderator or filter, and without providing that, I think we could get ourselves into some trouble. They do provide badges and certificates, which I feel like will be motivating to students, and learner analytics will be beneficial for students, teachers, and parents. One thing MOOCs do not have is direct interaction between instructor and participants, and I feel like that's going to be highly problematic. Students at such a young age need to know that there's someone there to support them, to help them through, to motivate them, and I feel like in knowing that there's none of that real interaction, you're going to lose some of that motivation and the assistance in general that's needed of those students. In MOOCs, there's no formal curriculum, which to me does not seem great for K through 12 education. Already we're learning, each state has their own standards, and furthering into that, districts are now developing their standard-based timelines to ensure that everyone across the district is learning the same thing at the same time. While I have differing viewpoints on that, I feel like moving away from formal curriculum in general, it would not be great for those students who have yet to learn a lot of their foundational information. They're very diverse, which I feel like is something that is beneficial. The interactivity, there's a lot of interactivity, which is also beneficial, and then the openness of it, again, I feel like great that it's open. You're having exposure to diverse people, diverse thoughts and ideas. However, I also can see problem in that of, okay, who can get in there? How do I make sure a first grader's not in there with a 10th grader? How can we do this appropriately? So in thinking of the different types of MOOCs that were created, the BOOC, I'm assuming I'm saying that correctly, the BOOC is a cross between a CMOOC and an XMOOC, and I can see how that could be beneficial, taking things like the discussion and the peer assessments, and putting it into the diverse groups of students that are having that interactivity. I can see that beneficial. However, I still am not sure that that would be the best choice for that age student. The COOC, or the COOC, I can see how that would be excellent for high school level school clubs or even career education. Having the ability to work within the community and build community knowledge in different areas where the students can see those terms that they're learning being applied in conversation from those in the career. I feel like that is probably the best bet in moving students towards a MOOC type atmosphere in the K through 12, realm. The SPOC, the SPOC, I'm going to call it, had features like pre-selected students, and to me, I feel like that seems pretty significant if you were going to, it touches on the ethics of what I felt before or discussed before. Of course, there's features like blending MOOCs with on-campus teaching so that they're working collaboratively with diverse groups of students, but also maintaining in-person assistance from the instructor. But then there was this, as I was thinking that, there was this section that came up in the reading. It says another strategy might be to use open social media, such as CourseWiki and student blogs, to widen access to the teaching of a formal course rather than develop a full-blown MOOC. And I'm like, okay, wow, yeah, that's technically what, I was hoping to see or thinking of as I was going through that reading. K through 12 educators already widely use tools like Khan Academy, and as I was reading, I was like, hey, that sounds like Khan because it resembles MOOCs in many features. However, the founder of Khan said that there are differences in its interactive challenges and assessments that make it different from MOOCs. More research is necessary on what participants learn in MOOCs and under what conditions they learn. So knowing how important standardized testing and high-stakes testing are in K through 12 education, it seems highly unlikely that this is going to seek approval at the district level in order to be pushed down into our classrooms. Our reading said, MOOCs are a tool for continuing and informal education, which has high value in its own right. As we shall see, though, MOOCs work best when people are already reasonably well educated. So, in saying that, a lot of our, especially elementary students, are not well educated in lots of areas, and that's okay, or you have vast differing levels of understanding, and so I just don't see how this is going to benefit them the most. MOOC, as is common with most forms of university continuing education, cater to the better educated, older, and employed sectors of society. And so with all of that being said, I would have to go with it. It has pieces and bits that seem like they would work great in K through 12 education, but I still think we have a way to go in developing MOOCs to make them completely appropriate for K through 12 students.